Weather forecasters have warned of heavy rains this weekend in some parts of the country, including the recently flood-lashed KwaZulu-Natal. While that province continues to pick up the pieces from the destruction caused by heavy rains last month, there are fears another severe downpour might be experienced this weekend. For a status check on overnight activities, let's now speak to KZN Emergency Medical Services spokesperson Robert McKenzie. A very good morning to you, Robert, and thank you so much for joining us. So what is the status so far? Are things still stable? Are things still okay in the province?
Good morning. Things are still stable at the moment. It's just started to rain where I am in Durban. But you can see it is ominous. These more cold weather rolling in from the south, and there's a cold wind blowing currently. So definitely more rain expected. It is forecast level 5 storm warning has been issued. So more rain is expected later on. As all the EMS services are on standby, ready to respond to any incident that may occur. Like you said, last month's flooding is still fresh in our minds, fresh on everybody's minds at this stage.
So nothing has been brought to your attention from any part of the province as yet?
Nothing that I'm aware of relating to flooding at this stage. Would like to remind everyone that if they do need to contact any emergency service anywhere in the country, they can use the 112 number. You can use that from a landline or a cell phone. It directs you to a call center, and then you tell them what emergency service you require and where you require it. So say you require the police in Bloemfontein, you phone and you say you require the police in Bloemfontein, and they will dispatch you through to the call center for the police in Bloemfontein. So it applies to any emergency service anywhere in the country, 112. And then they will take the details of the emergency and dispatch the emergency services to you.
I mean, I know you've mentioned that you guys are on high alert, you are on standby, you're waiting to respond if necessary, but what would you think are the chances of that? I mean, you never know if weather could go from what it is now to incredibly worse than what we saw the last time, but what would you think are the chances that we could actually go back to a flood situation?
Yeah, well, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm hoping for the best and hoping that we don't have a repeat of last month's weather. It was really traumatic and horrific what we experienced last month. So we're definitely hoping not to see those scenes again. But if they do occur, all the emergency services are ready to respond. And like I've said in the past, in instances like this, it's not about it's about the emergency services working together and collaborating together to be able to respond and help the people in need.
What would be the advice, Robert, to the people of the KZN, besides what you've already told them to do, what number to call, but what would be the advice for them to help themselves in this situation, considering that they've been here before not so long ago?
Yeah, well, we know that water emergencies and flooding happens very fast. By the time it happens, it's almost too late to call emergency services, so prevention is better than cure. So if there's a swollen, might have formerly been a little stream that's now swollen and flooded, don't try to cross it. Water that's flooding that's as high as your knee will wash you away. So don't try to cross any flooded former streams that are now gushing torrents. And even on the roads, water, as soon as it reaches midway up your wheel, your car will become buoyant and float away. You won't be able to drive anymore. So that's a caution. Even in a vehicle, you're not safe to cross flooded areas.
Would you advise, Robert, that people just don't leave their houses if it is incredibly important that they do so? If it's not important that they do so, that they stay indoors?
I was in a combined interview with one of my colleagues from Sea Rescue last month, and he had a good saying, and that is to have a safety mindset. Consider what is happening outside. Why do you need to go outside? What is the risk versus benefit? And you have a safety mindset to be able to decide for yourself what it is you need to do versus the risk of going out.
Yeah. Robert, I can imagine that we will be catching up with you probably tomorrow, maybe even later on in the day, just to get another update as to what exactly is happening in the KZN, because these rains are going to be happening throughout the weekend, I imagine. But thank you so much for joining us for this update this morning. That is KZN EMS spokesperson Robert McKenzie.